Hello dear students, welcome to a new geometry class. Today we'll be talking about the coordinates of a midpoint of a line segment. If A is a point that has coordinates x1, y1, and B is another point that has coordinates x2 and y2, then these 2 points, the coordinate of its midpoint is x1 plus x2 all over 2 and y1 plus y2 all over 2. So here, in order to find the midpoint, we get the 2 x's plus each other over 2 and the 2 y's plus each other over 2. Let's now go and check example 1. Example 1, it says, complete each of the following. The midpoint of AB, where A has coordinates 7 and 6, and B has coordinates -5 and 0 is what? Let's now solve it. As we said, we get the 2 values of x plus each other over 2 and the 2 values of y plus each other over 2. Then the coordinates of the midpoint in this case will be 1 and 3. Question 2, if M that has coordinates 3 and -1 is the midpoint of AB, where A has coordinates 4 and y, and B has coordinates 2 and -5, then what is the value of y? Here in this case, M is the midpoint, right? So here, the y is the unknown in point A. Then what we do here is the midpoint that is -1 equals the y plus the -5 over 2. If you do your calculations, you will see that y minus 5 is equal to -2, then y equals 3. Question 3. If M, that has coordinates 1 and 2, is the point of intersection of the 2 diagonals of the parallelogram ABCD, where A has coordinates 2 and 5, then what is the coordinates of point C? For sure, you know that when the 2 diagonals in the parallelogram, they intersect each other, they bisect each other. So they meet in the midpoint of each diagonal. So here, in this case, M is the midpoint of AC. So here, A has coordinates 2 and 5, where M, the midpoint, its coordinates are 1 and 2, and C, the unknown, will have coordinates x and y. So the 1, which is the x coordinate of the midpoint, came from 2 plus x all over 2. Then here 2 plus x equals 2, then x equals 0, where the y coordinate of the midpoint, which is the 2, came from 5 plus y all over 2. Then 5 plus y is equal to 4. So y equals -1. Let's move on to question 4. Question 4 says, if the point 3 and -1 is the midpoint of the line segment, whose terminals are x and 2 and 0 and y, then what is x plus y? The terminals are the 2 endpoints. So the x part of the midpoint, that is 3, came from x plus 0 over 2. So here for sure x equals 6, where the y part of the midpoint, the -1, came from the 2 plus y over 2, then 2 plus y equals -2, then y is equal to -4. If the question wants us here to find x plus y, then x plus y equals 6 plus -4, then it's equal to 2. Let's now move on to example 2. Prove that the points A, B, C are the vertices of an isosceles triangle of vertex A. Then find the length of the drawn straight segment from A perpendicular to BC, then find its area. In this question, it has different parts. Let's now go start by one part and then do the other part and then do the third part. In this question, the first part, the question wants us to prove that triangle ABC is an isosceles triangle with vertex A. So remember, isosceles triangle with vertex A, it means that AB is equal to AC. Then let's go to find the length of AB and find the length of AC. So here, the length of AB, yes, sure, we're going to use the distance formula. Square root of -3 minus 3 all squared plus 0 minus 4 all squared. The answer will be 2 square root of 13, where AC, we find it by the distance formula as well, -3 minus 1 all squared plus 0 minus -6 all squared. In this case, the result is also 2 root 13. As long as AB is equal to AC, then triangle ABC is isosceles at A. Now let's move on to the second part of the question. The question here is asking us to find the length of the drawn straight segment from A that is perpendicular to BC. For sure, when the perpendicular line from the vertex goes to BC in an isosceles triangle, it intersects BC at its midpoint because it bisects BC. Then let's find the midpoint of BC, that we're going to call it point M. So point M, that is the midpoint of BC, is equal to 3 plus 1 over 2 and 4 plus -6 over 2. Again, I'm repeating that. M is the midpoint of BC. So the coordinates of point M are 2 and -1. The question is asking you to find the length of AM. So here, AM equals the distance formula using points A and point M. So it's -3 minus 2 all squared plus 0 minus -1 all squared. So the length of AM is square root of 26. Last part of the question wants you to find the area of triangle ABC. If this is triangle ABC, the area, its rule is half times base times height. So the area equals half times the base, which is BC, that we need to find the length of BC. So here we'll go and find BC equals square root of 3 minus 1 squared plus 0 minus -6 squared. It's 2 square root of 10. So here, the area is half times 2 square root of 10 times the height, which is AM, that is square root of 26. If you do your calculations, the area of this triangle will be 4 square root of 15 units squared. Example 3. Find the value of each of x and y if point 3, negative 2 is the midpoint of the line segment drawn between the 2 points x2 and 3y. So here, the x part of the midpoint, which is 3, came from x plus 3 over 2, and the y part of the midpoint, that is the negative 2, came from the 2 plus y all over 2. Then x plus 3 equals 6, so x is equal to 3, where 2 plus y equals negative 4, where y equals negative 6. Example 4. If A belongs to x-axis and B belongs to the y-axis, where C is the midpoint of AB, find the coordinates of point A and point B. As long as the question says that A belongs to the x-axis, then A has a coordinate of the unknown x and its y is 0, where B belongs to the y-axis, so B has coordinates 0 and unknown y. So if C is the midpoint, then the x part of C came from x plus 0 over 2, where the y part of C, which is the 2, came from 0 plus y over 2. So x equals negative 8, where y equals 4. Then the coordinates of A and B, A has coordinates of negative 8 and 0, where B has coordinates of 0 and 4. Let's now move on to example 5. In a perpendicular coordinate plane, if AB segment is a diameter in the circle whose center is M, where A has coordinate 3 and 4, and B has coordinate 3 and negative 3. Find the coordinates of the midpoint M, then calculate the circumference of this circle. For sure we know that if AB is a diameter and M is the center of this circle, so automatically M is the midpoint of A and B, because M is the bisecting point of AB. M will have coordinates, the x's plus each other over 2, and y plus each other over 2. So M is equal to 3.5. The question then is asking us to calculate the circumference of the circle. For sure, you know that the rule of circumference of circle is 2 pi r. So first, we need to find the length of the radius. The length of the radius is half the diameter, so you can get the length of AB divided by 2, or you can get the length of AM or BM. So here we'll get the length of AB, which is the length of the diameter, by using the distance formula. 3 minus 3 all squared plus 4 minus negative 3 all squared, so it is 7. And for sure, you don't have to do the distance formula as long as A and B are on the same horizontal line. Then the radius is half the diameter, so it's 3.5. And this is the same answer that you will get if you find the distance between A and M or B and M. So let's go back to the circumference. Circumference equals 2 times the pi, which is 3.14, times the radius, which is 3.5. If you do your calculations, the answer will be 21.98 unit length. Let's now move on to the evaluation part, and as I always remind you, when it comes to the evaluation, pause the video, try to answer the questions yourself, and then play the video again to check your answers. The question here says, choose the correct answer from those given. If A and B, and here are the coordinates of A and B are given, then what is the midpoint of segment AB? Let's find the midpoint by using the midpoint rule. So the midpoint, we get the x's plus each other over 2 and the y's plus each other over 2. So here the midpoint will be 2 and -1. So the right choice here is choice C. Question 2. If A, that has coordinates 7 and -4, and B, that has coordinates -1 and 0, then the coordinates of the midpoint of segment AB is, we're going to do it with the same way that we answered question 2 with, and the correct answer will be choice C. In question 3, if C, that has coordinates 2 and 1, is the midpoint of segment AB, where B has coordinates 3 and 0, then what are the coordinates of point A? If we call that point A has coordinates x and y, where B has coordinates 3 and 0, and C, the midpoint, has coordinates 2 and 1, then the x coordinate in the midpoint, the 2, came from the x plus 3 over 2, then x plus 3 is equal to 4, so x equals 1. And the y part in the midpoint, that is 1, came from the y plus 0 over 2, then y equals 2. So the coordinates of point A are 1 and 2. So here the right answer is choice A. By finishing this question, we came to the end of our session today. Thank you very much, dear students. Wishing you best of luck.